Hey everybody, Dr. John D'Ambrosio here from the Center for Life Enhancement right in Woodstock, Georgia. And I want to take a moment to just talk to you about the zone technique. I get so many questions asking me, how is the zone technique different than traditional chiropractic? So I want to take a moment to just go into what the zone technique is, how it's different from traditional chiropractic, and how they're the same. Okay, so the zone technique is there are 6 zones in the brain that every single gland, muscle, organ, and cell fall under control of. They're the glandular zone, the elimination zone, the nervous zone, the digestive zone, the muscular zone, and the circulatory zone. So these zones control everything in your body. And if one of those zones or more of those zones are out of balance, the end organs, cells, muscles, or glands that are getting energy from that area, let's say example, the glandular zone, say that glandular zone is not functioning properly, then all of the glands at the end that are sending the transmissions from the brain to the body are not getting the full flow. So I liken it to a fire hose. So you're supposed to get a fire hose worth of blast of energy, of healing coming from the brain down to the body. So there's communication, there's adaptation, there's healing. And if that area is not working, if that zone is out of balance, it's choking off the flow going to whatever organs, glands, cells, or muscles. So it's now more of a trickle. So if that area being affected, if there's just a trickle going through there, do you think that that area can function optimally? Do you think that it's getting the best healing? Do you think it's having the best communication with the rest of the body, with the other parts of that system? Well, of course not. It can't. And that's when there starts to become a lack of proper function. People get symptoms, people get disease. So my goal isn't to treat any disease, but to find out where there's an imbalance in the brain and then remove that so the body can begin to heal itself, so that trickle becomes a fire hose of flow of energy and healing going to that specific area. So each zone, again, controls a different aspect of your body. So the glandular zone controls all the glands in the body. So you have your pineal gland, your pituitary gland, your thyroid gland, your pancreas. Every gland is under direct control of that zone. The elimination zone is everything that eliminates. So whether it's your lungs, you're exhaling, you're eliminating carbon dioxide, it could be your skin, you're eliminating toxins, you're sweating, it could be your kidneys, it could be your colon. They all fall under the elimination zone. There's a nervous zone, which dictates and controls the entire nervous system. So if there's an imbalance there, that's a pretty big deal. Although they're all equally, if there's an imbalance, it'll negatively impact the body, but this one affects the entire nervous system. Digestive zone, everything that digests. So that could be, beginning of the digestive tract, mouth, esophagus, stomach, intestines. It goes all the way through. Muscular zone, all the muscles, all the ligaments, and all the bones in the body fall under that zone. And the circulatory zone, which is everything that circulates, whether it's blood, lymph, cerebral spinal fluid, they all fall under that zone. Now you may have noticed that there's going to be a lot of carryover. So say you have something going on in the elimination zone. Well, elimination, digestive also falls under that. So does muscular, because you have the muscles of, say, the colon pushing out waste material. So that falls under that. It can also have part of the glands and nervous system circulate. So everything overlaps and touches. So we're not just dealing, again, with one area. We're affecting the entire body by balancing a zone. So for an example, this is a kind of cool example. I had somebody come into me, and this was a regular practice member. He was a high school student, and he was a pole vaulter. During a practice the day before a big meet, he landed in a really bad way on the mat. He came in, his mom actually had to bring him in. He could barely walk. I got him on the table, I checked him. In my head, I'm expecting, well, it's probably going to be muscular zone, potentially nervous zone, but it wasn't. It was elimination. Why? I have no idea. I balanced out that zone. He got up. said, I feel much better. He was able to touch his toes. He could barely move before. I got a text the next day that he set a personal record on the high jump, on the pole vault. What was the tie-in? I don't know. I just do what the body tells me. I don't question it. I find something, and that's what I address. Now, how is this similar to chiropractic? Well, again, the zones, the brain is communicating to the body. It's going through and it's talking to the glands, organs, muscles, all the systems in the body, and that's how regulation takes place. That's how healing takes place. Chiropractic is very similar, but chiropractic states that the communication is not interrupted or disrupted from the brain, but normal signals are sent down from the brain and they're disrupted at a specific segment. And then whatever organs, muscles, or glands are at the end of that segment are then negatively affected. Now, both can occur. That's why when we balance out the zones, we're also balancing you out chiropractically. So there's a huge tie in there. The differences, again, are the zone technique works on the supposition that the imbalance is coming from the brain. So instead of proper signals, which traditional chiropractic states are being sent from the brain to the body, zone technique is the signals from the brain are already being inhibited, and then we balance them, and they will then go to the body and function as possible. So as they're supposed to. So hopefully this was a good, very brief and a not super in-depth explanation of the zone technique and why it's important. When I practiced in New Jersey, working with the zone technique, I had people coming to me from driving 5 hours one way to come see me for a visit that took about 3 minutes. They would come in. I had people coming from Vermont. I had people coming from Pennsylvania. I had people coming from New York. I had people coming from South Jersey. So people love this technique. People also love chiropractic. You can't go wrong. I love them both. That's why I practice them both. So again, this is Dr. John D'Ambrosio from the Center for Life Enhancement in Woodstock, Georgia. Hope I answered any questions you had about the zone technique and chiropractic.